Hey friend, how are you? I hope you're well. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of grace and how it can really help you get to a place of forgiveness with those people who are really testing every fiber of your patience and good graces. I recently had two separate incidents with people who I don't even know that well that really took me to a level of frustration, anger, and rage that I thought I was over a decade past. Both of these incidents really tried me because they dealt with disrespect. I felt like these individuals were testing my patience on purpose and trying to push me to a place that I felt like I was far beyond. And the audacity of them to do that just took me mentally over the edge. When I think about these situations and how I really got through them, it wasn't even a matter of, am I going to forgive them? It was, how can I forgive them ASAP? Because the energy that is permeating in me right now is not something I like. You know, being energetically charged with anger, something to the point where you think of what they did 2 days later and the same level of vim, of rage, of potty mouth behavior, all of it is still there, right? So I had to get to this place of forgiveness for my own mental health and sanity. And the way that I did that was by humanizing these individuals. What this means is that instead of looking at them just from the perspective of how I felt, I looked at them as human beings. What is it that you could be going through that could make you test me like this, that could make you act like this towards me? And I would just think and ponder on this. And it really got me to a place of being able to let it go. And when I thought about the concept of them triggering me, that's really the pain point that stuck to me. In my mind, in the conversations I had after, I'm like, who does this person think they are to try me? Like, who do they think they are to disrespect me? And that was really what was centering my anger. And that's really, of all the things they did, that's really where the root was. And part of humanizing them was removing myself and decentering myself. I realized that I was just the unlucky participant that got the brunt of something that these individuals had been dealing with longer than they've known me and far outside of me, and maybe even far after me if they don't do their processing and their own healing themselves. It was a matter of, yes, they hurt me, but what is the bigger issue at hand? For one of these instances, it was actually a rejection instance. This is someone that I had gone on a few dates with, and throughout the process of us getting to know each other, I realized that he's not him. And I say him with a capital H. That's the love of my life. Him is the love of my life. I realized that he wasn't him. And we had a conversation about it. And when we had this conversation, he was offended. He was upset. He felt that I didn't give him a chance. Rightfully so. All of the feelings are valid, you know? And I said we could still be friends. He told me, no, we can't. And I respected that. So after that, we no longer spoke. And 4 months later, or so, 3 or 4 months later, he sends me a text message saying, hey, I hope you're well. I just wanted to let you know that I'm interested in pursuing one of your best friends. Take care. Like, literally, that was the message. And not only did he send it via text, I was on vacation, so my data was off. So he sent it via text, and then 2 hours later, sent it again on my Instagram. And when I saw this, I was raging hot fire. You could just imagine the disrespect of telling me that you're going to pursue my friend like 4 months later to get to me because you feel like I rejected you. But then instead of sitting in that anger, in that frustration, in that who do you think you are to try me and disrespect me, I stepped outside and I said to myself, what could he be going through that would justify him to feel as though this is what he needed to do? And I tried to put myself in his shoes. Of course, I can't completely put myself in his shoes because I'm not in his brain and we are not talking. So I'm not going to get an understanding and I really don't care to. But from my perspective of that situation, I thought rejection sucks, especially when you like somebody a lot and you feel like they didn't give you a chance to prove that you and them would be compatible. So months later, still ruminating on this rejection, instead of him being able to move on and say, you know what, she doesn't think I'm the one for her, her loss. I'm gonna go find somebody who likes me the way I like them and it's gonna be great. He came back to tell me that he was going to pursue my friend, maybe to get a reaction out of me, maybe to even date her and do a bunch of nice stuff for her so that I could see what I was missing out on, which in my opinion was nothing. But that's sad. You know, that is tough to have to be in a place where you feel like you have to prove yourself to somebody and you can't walk away. And when I thought of it from that perspective, I immediately put myself in those shoes because there have been so many times where I have been jumping up and down and waving in the presence of men, trying to get them to notice me, trying to convince them that the value I think I would bring to them is something that should make them feel that I'm worth investing in. And it's a loser's game because to have to fight for something means you're going to have to fight to maintain it. So I don't regret what I did, but being able to look at him and see that these were places where I was at one point in time. And I thank God for the grace to be able to get past it and be where I am now. But I know that I was probably that kind, some semblance of that kind of icky to some of the guys who I've experienced in my life. It allowed me to be able to have a little bit more calm for him and be able to say, nah, what you did was messed up. We're not denying that. It was messed up. It was disrespectful. I don't rate it, but at the same time, maybe a piece of me can understand it. And that piece of me that can understand it allows me to be able to move on and let it go. Because now, instead of me being angry and saying, who do you think you are? From my little understanding of who my spirit and my deductive reasoning has interpreted you to be based on these actions, now I'm like, I wish you the best. I wish you healing. I wish you the opportunity to be able to experience someone who sees all of your value in the way that you give it so you don't feel the need to prove points, because love is not a battle of proving points. It's just synergy of two people committed to putting in the same amount of work and effort, which is something that he and I could not have. And when I think about it like that, even talking about it, I feel like my tone has calmed down compared to when I was saying disrespect because the grace, the grace that I've received, the grace that I've given myself, the grace that God has given me, the least I can do is to give it to others. And from that place, be able to move on and move past it. And that's what I'm actually here encouraging you all to do as well. Find that grace for the people who have hurt you. Humanize them in a way where you can maybe understand where they're coming from. And understanding where somebody's coming from and absolving them of the wrongdoings are two different things. I can acknowledge that that was trash behavior while understanding that there's a toxic root that manifested that trash behavior as fruit in your life. You know, so that's really what I want you to get to. And I wanted to share this story so that hopefully it could get you there, because it's such an epiphany to me. And I think with all of the things I've gone through in my life and all of the ways that I have been hurt by people and things that the people who love me say it's still on site for life with the people who have hurt me. But I'm here like, I can't even afford to do that. It's the grace that I give them that really helps me get to that place. And I hope that you can get there as well. It's also very important to say that giving grace doesn't mean rekindling a relationship or allowing access. It means I see this from where you're coming from, but at the same time, in order to uphold my boundaries, to feel safe, to be calm, to not be in spaces that trigger me or don't serve me, I'm still not going to talk to you. I think that's where forgiveness gets really tricky, because people assume that once you forgive them, you have to be their friend again, you have to talk to them again, you have to pick up where you left off. No, we don't. Forgiveness means I am not holding you as a burden in my heart or on my shoulder that I am going to continue to drag throughout the rest of my life. Does that mean we have to hug and go for drinks? Absolutely not. It just means in my heart, in the depths of me, I am no longer holding ill intent or malice for you. And for a lot of people, this might still be tough, right? Like, this person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. It's not about what they deserve. It's about what you are sacrificing by taking up space with toxicity in your body. For me, when I was experiencing these two incidents and rage was on 10, one of the things I realized is that I could not create. I couldn't make YouTube videos. I couldn't write poetry. My creative mind was blocked. And for me, I believe that creativity is the gift that God gives us. God is the ultimate creator. He created the world. So from him giving us the Holy Spirit, he has given us a well to his divine creativity. But when we have anger blocking us, blocking our mind, filling us with that toxicity, it blocks us from being able to enter into God's rest, into hearing the Holy Spirit and fully creating and doing the things we need to do. So for the sake of my life, for the sake of my worth, my work, for the sake of my worth, actually, for the sake of my peace of mind, I had to just let it go, because I have work to do. I have videos to make. I have poetry books to write, and I have the people in my life who love me to be loved on. Like, I don't want to hold it. So for those of you who are experiencing unforgiveness, who are going through the whirlwinds of rethinking situations over and over again and getting reignited with that anger and that rage and that disappointment and that disgust and whatever else it is, try infusing a little bit of grace. And it's easier said than done, right? This is such a simple concept, but in execution, it's much more difficult. I completely acknowledge that, but I am praying ease over you as you do it. I am praying peace over you as you lean into trying to move on with your life, because the people who we're angry at, half of the time, they don't even care. They wreak havoc on us. They set carnage over our lives. We're here stumbling to get things back together, and they are moving on business as usual. This is for you. This is the most selfish thing you could do for yourself. You owe it to yourself to let go and let God carry that weight for you, because it's too heavy for you. We'll buckle at the knees. It's going to stress us out. We're going to pull muscles, and we need to just be free of that. Does that person need to know that you've forgiven them? No, that's not what we're talking about here. You don't need to call them and say, by the way, I've forgiven you because I give you grace, you pitiful being that I pity and have empathy for. No. They don't even need to know. I think some of the people who I've forgiven might still think that the moment they see me, it's on sight. And that's okay. That's between them and their consciousness. But I know that in my heart, nothing is left, because anything I'm holding on to is taking up space that I can be using to fill with all the love in my life and all the abundance and all the good things. And I don't want to fill that space that way. So I hope that this helps you. I hope that it's the sign you've been waiting for, if you've been waiting for a sign to step into that forgiveness. And I hope that these tips and my story really offers you a guiding light into finding your own path to do the same thing for yourself. So I want to thank you for listening. I would ask that you would subscribe if you love it, like if you like it, and share it with a friend if you think that they would need it. And remember to continue to be kind to yourself, because you are a work in progress, making progress. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.